but we also have a Ukrainian parliamentarian who's joining us on this broadcast. If you can hear me, we are at Zotomir, the very place perhaps no other global news network has reached. We are showing images of what's really happening on the ground. What is it that you are picking up in terms of how far have the Russians reached? What is the current situation on the ground?
Thank you very much for showing what has happened in Zhytomyr. I was there yesterday to actually also check for my own, also have these pictures, and I'm trying to reach out to all my colleagues MPs in the world to explain exactly what is happening and to show exactly what is happening. I also visited Bila Tserkva yesterday, where also we had a bombardment of the residential buildings. In the meantime, we have some fierce situation around Kyiv, also a little bit closer than Zhytomyr, and then Bila Tserkva in Bucha, in Hostomel, in Irpin. Unfortunately, people are not, by occupiers, are not allowed to be evacuated. This morning, I have a friend who is staying in Irpin. This morning, I still had connection with her. But now I cannot reach her. They are not being led by occupying force to move out. Yesterday, the railway station was bombarded there, so there is no rail connection at this particular moment, so the people cannot be evacuated by rail. They were suggested to go by foot, and then they were attacked. The civilians that were trying to live, families with kids, were attacked directly by the fire from occupiers. I find it appalling what the Russian Federation is trying to say, that it's us Ukrainians are attacking ourselves. We are a very peaceful nation. We have not been attacking anyone. We have not. We would be stupid to attack ourselves. I mean, it's Russian narrative and Russian crime that it has carried out at some particular point in Moscow years ago, then in Chechnya years ago, when they were creating this reasons for attacking their own people, for example, Chechens on their land. But that's not about Ukrainians, and that's not about us. Yes, we are at this particular moment working very hard to call on all the nations who can help to provide us three major things: air defense, planes for us to defend ourselves, and yes, no-fly zone. And I am very saddened by the fact that so far the decision has not been taken because of the worry of NATO to get in direct clash with the Russian forces over our land. So that's why the priority at this particular moment is air defense and planes. And you are showing these disastrous pictures, but also let me just also remind you that twice already during these 2 days in the occupied and heavily shelled city of Mariupol in the south of Ukraine, there was agreement reached with Russians for evacuation corridor for people, civilians from residential areas to leave this city, but twice that particular agreement, that the ceasefire for these corridors has been broken by the Russian Federation. So everywhere where evacuation is planned or where people are trying to flee the bombarded areas, they are directly attacking citizens. They are attacking, as you were showing, hospitals, kindergartens. They are attacking also ambulances. And unfortunately, I already have this incredible amount of calls for help, where we are trying to send the ambulances to evacuate people who are wounded, and the ambulances are not allowed in. Kids are dying after wounds. They are bleeding to death because we cannot get them out from those areas which are occupied by Russian forces. So I think it's Armageddon on earth. It's hell that Russia has imposed on our country. And I would like to call on you, please do not call it Ukrainian war. It's not Ukrainian war. It's Russian terrorist states' brutal war against Ukraine. It's not us who has started it. And I am also worried that, yes, Belarus, not only with its troops, but also already with its territory from where the attacks are happening, has joined this war, losing at the same time, losing its sovereignty. So I think at this particular moment, there is no such country anymore as Belarus. It has to be recognized by the whole world that it has become Russian territory. Basically, Lukashenko has given up his country for the sake of his own life and for the sake of staying in some puppet dictatorial status as such.
Ma'am, can you hear me? Can I take the second question with you right now?
Yes. Please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Ma'am, what I then want to, yeah, you have laid out the entire premise, the entire condition right now that your country faces. Let me ask you a direct question. On the one hand, your president is trying to put a lot of pressure on NATO. You've already seen the kind of response really come in from NATO. The fact of the matter here is that it is a battle that you are fighting all by yourself. This is a battle that you're fighting all by yourself simply because many believe that this is actually a war between West and Russia. You have been caught in the crossfire. And you are hedging your bets a little bit too much on the West. Do you really believe that the West is going to stand with you? You've seen what the West has done when it comes to the Iraq war, when it comes to Afghanistan. Can you really trust the West right now?
We are getting a lot of support from the West in this particular moment, including with weaponry and including with humanitarian aid and including with quite serious sanctions that have been already taken. But I think there is much more to do, and the urgency of this action is becoming really critical. So we are all working to that end to ensure that West finally changes its approach to what is happening here and engages at a much wider scale also against Russia, for example, introducing embargo on buying oil and gas from Russian Federation, because those oil dollars are going to finance those people who are killing my people today, who are killing our friends and dear ones today. So I think everything will come. The only problem is that at what price? And every single hour of prolongation of this inaction costs us serious damages, serious life loss here in Ukraine.
Ma'am, while you say that you've got some amount of support from the West in terms of the military support, in terms of the military aid, but the fact of the matter here is that this military aid does not really help you in terms of strengthening your aerial power. Your aerial power isn't something that you have got some support. And that's the reason why again and again I'm asking you this question. Aren't you hedging your bets a little too much on the West? Don't you believe that somewhere down the line what's really happening is that the West is firing from your shoulders?
The West is our only help. I don't see India coming in with support, or other countries that would be coming in with that type of support to help us to protect our citizens. So we are banging on all the doors, and we will continue do that. And we are working with all the governments. We are working with all the some skeptics that unfortunately still exist, or some of those who are too afraid. As you know, for NATO to take any action together, it requires consensus, and Russia is exploiting this possibility of having those who are hesitant inside the alliance, and that's what we are working on right now. So we have a coalition of the willing. We have those people those governments and those states who are ready to provide everything we are asking for. But at the same time, Russia has been working with them for quite a while, paying big sums to media, to politicians, to some political parties in some of the countries of NATO. And that's what we are struggling against today. It's not a unilateral decision of any nation. And that makes it much more difficult at this particular moment. But yes, at the same time, we are receiving a lot of military support, and our capacities increased in protection, in further protection of our motherland.
Ma'am, one last question before I let you go. This is with regards to what is it that is required. I spoke to the mayor of Zotomir just a short while back, who is saying that, what is becoming extremely difficult on the ground is that you are not being able to prevent the kind of aerial attacks that are taking place. I'm standing right now in a place which was bombarded by the Russians. It's a civilian area. Just behind me is a hospital that has been damaged. So while all of this is happening, while you are really hoping that the West will come and rescue you, your civilians are dying. What is really happening on the ground is that unfortunately, it is the people of Ukraine who are suffering. What is it that you think perhaps can be done in an immediate manner? We have seen Israel stepping in. Israel has gone and met the president of Russia. I'm given to understand that he's also spoken to your president. What is it that you think is the need of the hour?
The need of the hour is air defense and airplanes. And that's the need of the hour. And some ceasefire for our people to recuperate and get off this immense pressure, psychological pressure and physical pressure that we are under at this particular moment. But that's why, I don't see any other force that can help us besides the West, besides the alliance and the coalition of the willing. So that's why we are banging on those doors. And yes, it is extremely painful to see how hours and minutes and days are flying by, and we still did not receive what we are asking for. And our residents, our friends, our colleagues are being killed, and that was happened. I knew people who got killed at this particular moment, and but I don't see any other source, any other coalition that would be able to help us. I think at the same time, there has to be a lot to be done for expelling Russian Federation from all the international organizations, for ensuring that all of their diplomats are kicked out from all the democratic countries of the world. They have to be in total isolation, and they have to be their lives have to be impossible to carry on as they are used to, in order for them to understand and try also to push from inside. But people in Russia are scared, and they are filled with propaganda from Russian state, and that's probably the longest way. We don't have time for that, so that's why we will continue using every opportunity to let the world know what is happening here, and to ensure that we are getting the most urgent support we need. So if you are bringing this our voice further to the world, please do. We appreciate that, and please help us to put pressure on our partners that to help Ukrainians to survive, because otherwise we will end up with the totally erased from the map country that had dreams, country that had feelings, that had peaceful plans to develop and to prosper and to present itself to the world with culture, with the positive experiences. But today our nation is trying, but we are fighting and we are resisting. And that's something that everybody is underestimating. Ukrainians are resisting, and what Putin is trying to do right now is trying to threaten us to that point that we would not fight back. Till we leave, till we breathe, we will fight back, even with barehandedly, as people are coming out in even occupied cities. They are coming out with Ukrainian flags against tanks, against multiple rocket launch systems, against this terrible weaponry that Russia has brought on our land, trying to stop the occupiers. We will continue doing so till the world wakes up and gets the support we deserve and we need.
Well, thank you very much, ma'am. We as a global news network, we certainly believe that the world today certainly needs to stand
together for the Ukrainians. Will be constantly reporting and showing the world what's really happening on the ground. We've reached multiple
locations across Ukraine, trying to beam across these images of large-scale destruction.